Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Obereri. Problem identified is half solved because all you need to do is to devise creative solutions to take out that problem. Why do we have insecurity in Nigeria? And why do we have inflation? We can attribute inflation in Nigeria to different factors, different constitutive agents. Why is Naira trading at why is the dollar trading at 1,725 Naira in the Audax market? Very simple. If you ask the layman, they will tell you what is inflation. They will tell you, oh, too much money chasing few goods. Who are those that printed the monies that are in the hand of people without the commensurate product supply? It's government. So when you have scarcity of product, you have so much money chasing those few goods. What do? You increase the productivity, enhance the volume of those goods in the market. When you have so much supply, more than demand, price will actually crash. If, for example, now we go to a market where you have 500 people, they want to buy a bag of rice, and they can only buy one bag each. And we have 1,000 traders with 5,000 bags of rice or 5,000 bags of garri. All the traders will want to sell. The buyers are limited. Their demands are limited. The suppliers and the traders will want to bring down their price so that they will be the first to sell. It's very simple law of economics. Naira is today 1,625 to $1 because we have more demand for the dollar, more than the supply of the dollar. And the more the demand of the dollar, both for legitimate and illegitimate and criminal demand, is why we have Naira at the level, even at that level, it's not even a problem. We can bring down, crash, and improve the value of the Naira when we become productive and export more than we demand. Take, for instance, the issue of rice. A bag of rice moved from the level of 10,000 Naira in 2014 to the current level, foreign rice about 120,000 Naira for 50 kg bag. Local rice about 84,000. This was something that sold for something that sold for 10,000 Naira for 50 kg bag. So what are the contributory factors? The farmers in the farm cannot go to farm because of insecurity. The farm inputs and implements, the costs have gone high because energy costs have skyrocketed, multiplied, and other factors of production. Yet, despite this, we can actually still crash the price of 50 kg bag of rice to 30,000 Naira or thereabouts. And how do we do this? It's for us to scientifically develop processes, integrated manner to cultivate enough rice. And how do we cultivate enough rice? To be able to crash the price, ensure that supply of rice in Nigeria is more than the demand. Let's go. This is an example. I'll be doing this series along different sectors to show us why it is very easy to govern and provide direction for people. It's no skyrocket science. Today, the estimated domestic demand and consumption of rice in Nigeria is about 7.5 million tons. It's estimated that we are domestically producing about 5.3 million tons, which is not up to the demand. That simply means we need to import to augment. And by importing to augment, of course, we have to use dollar to import. At the current exchange rate, you cannot import it and you will sell it cheap. And now, why are we having high cost of domestic production? Apart from the poor farm technology and poor farm practices, we also have poor yield because of the poor inputs that we are using. Take, for instance, Egypt. Before now, Egypt wasn't competing with the Asian tigers, Thailand and the rest of them. But Egypt have to improve their species. We have some of the best research institutes in Nigeria. Today, Egypt is occupied by 95% desert. The only available source of major irrigation for Egypt is the Nile. By using the Nile and creating the right agro practice, Egypt have developed a rice species, the Geri species, that does about 9 tons of paddy rice per hectare. What is so difficult for Nigeria to adopt the Geri species or any other species which can actually grow here? It is being grown in Nigeria here. If we decide today we want to do rice clusters, we don't need to wait for somebody from Kebbi to cultivate rice that does poor yield and then move all the way from Kebbi. The energy cost, transport cost will be high. So we can do rice clusters. We now simulate what is the demand for rice in the southeast based on the population. The consumption of rice per capita today is about 67 kg. What is the population of the southwest that consume rice, and based on the rice consumption per capita, we can develop enough clusters that will enable us to produce rice supply of rice in the southwest 3 times what they consume. The same for the southeast, the same for the northwest, the same for the north central, the same for the northeast, and the rest of them. If today we decide, okay, we want to cultivate, we aggregate those clusters, 2 million hectares in those clusters, and we are use the Geri species or any of these hybrid high output species. Rice is something that can be cultivated twice in a year using irrigation and top agric technology. We can actually produce nothing less than 36 million tons of paddy rice per annum. If we produce 36 million tons of paddy rice, it will give us nothing less than 30 million tons of parboiled rice. If we have 30 million tons of parboiled rice, based on the cost of production, which we have done, we will sell 50 kg bag of rice in Nigeria across the different clusters and distribution zones for 30,000 naira for 50 kg bag, 35,000 naira, in such a way that even though selling the rice at that price makes huge return on their investment. And when we've done 30 million tons of paddy rice, what do you think, parboiled rice, what do you think we'll do? Our consumption is 7.5 million tons. We will export the rest to the rest of the world. Why are we having issues with crude oil and sale of crude oil and refined products? In 2010, October to be precise, go and check the records at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Throughout the month of October, from October 1st to October 31st, 2010, Nigeria produced domestically 2.88 million barrels of crude oil. We exported 2.43 million barrels. In this same country, that simply means, what do we do to ramp up output of crude oil to the level we used to have in 2010? Is it that the wells have dried up? Is it that our rig count has reduced? Is it that there is insecurity along those areas that make our cost of production high or make it risky for investors to bring in investment? We have solutions to each of these legs. To tackle the security, we've advocated that will involve the communities. When the communities are stakeholders, not individuals who are aligned with the political bandits, involve the communities, they give them a share of the profit. Let each community set up rangers for every community, fully trained and armed, provide them with the facilities to be able to protect the assets within their locality, on a promise that the community will benefit, share a percentage. You can amend the PIB further. You don't need to pay somebody $4 billion, 4 billion naira to protect it. When the communities themselves, who know every inch of the ground, can protect those assets. Meter all the flow stations, meter all the pipelines. Saudi Arabia has 4 times the number of pipelines, the length of pipelines we have in Nigeria. You will never hear that an inch of the Saudi pipeline was ever sabotaged. If a fly perch on any pipe in Saudi Arabia, they will detect it. What is so big about this? The refineries we have are not even old. There are refineries in the West, in Europe, in America, that were built 20 years, 15 years before our own, that are still operating optimally. So we need to ask ourselves questions. When you identify a problem, provide solution to that problem, everybody will. See, this country is blessed. But the only problem we have is that we have mostly unthinking leaders, very selfish, very wicked, very callous. They lack sympathy and empathy. All they want is what they will steal, what they will loot, what they will eat. And unfortunately, we have in a vast majority very ignorant citizenry who only think about what they will eat, what they will benefit. Everybody's waiting on the sideline to benefit, to be invited on the looting table. Nobody's thinking creatively. How do I provide solution to solve the problems of mankind? Nigeria is a country that ticks the right boxes to become a top 7 biggest economy in the whole world. Then we just need to do the right things. Thank you and God bless for your audience.